Oh, what a great Saturday night. And I'm sure that you're going to enjoy the programming we have coming up here tonight on the Six Screens live streaming programs. Well, my name's Rick Ferrin. I'm coming to you from the hub of the universe right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And I have to tell you, this was a really big week. I know I say that all the time, but this was a really big week in the world of the Jehovah's Witnesses. I have to tell you that that protest that they had down in Washington, D.C., I am just doing the happy dance here. I was so encouraged by that. Well, Anne Marie will be talking to someone about it tonight. We'll be talking about it tonight as well on JW World News broadcast. So we're going to bring Anne Marie in. She has this program called Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. Hello, Anne Marie.
Hello, my beautiful, wonderful brother Rick. I'm still smiling over the protest. You did a great job.
Well, it was a good job. It was, from what I had to work with, and because of the security and all of the policemen and searching things I had, and I mean, I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning and woke up in the hotel room, got up, got all my equipment ready, put in my little carriage that I have, went to the Ronald Reagan parking garage, and that's about a mile and a half from the White House. So I had to lug that stuff a mile and a half. Well, it wasn't bad, not complaining. I'm in pretty good shape, so I was able to do that. But the security there, I've never seen so many policemen in my life, Amory. It's unbelievable.
Well, they probably heard some of those stories about how crazy those indoctrinated, brain-dead watchtowerites can be.
Well, they probably heard that, but I think they were more or less looking out for Palestinians and terrorists because, of course, the war going on in Israel. I think they put them on special vigilance. But they had armed snipers on the roof. You couldn't believe the Secret Service police all over the place. But we had a really good time, and I got some footage we'll be playing later. I got some of the people that were on the in the protest. They'll be coming on later on talking about it as well. But I want to hear what you have to say about it as well. So I'm going to cut you loose, and you do your thing.
Well, thank you, my brother. I just want to say I'm so proud of you and thankful to you for all the work you did and for all those who did what they needed to do to be there, because we have to keep standing up and telling the truth about this Watchtower organization. Thank you, my brother. I'm looking forward to the whole show and the rest of tonight.
Very good. Okay, Emery. Yeah, go ahead.
No, thank you, my brother. I just want to welcome everyone in. Today is Six Screen Saturday. Today is November 4th, 2023. We have an echo.
I'm not hearing it. Do you have an echo?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, are you on speakerphone?
Yes, sir.
Come off speakerphone, see if it goes away.
Okay, I'm off speaker. Still hear it. Sorry.
You still hear it? Okay, well, let me just check a few things here on my end. I'm not sure where that echo would be coming from, but let me just double check a couple of things here. That's off. Okay, I see that's okay. Let me double check this one. Echo is gone there. Well, that is interesting, Anne Marie. But just hang in here with us. We'll try to.
Sorry.
It's all right. We'll just try to find out where it is. I don't really hear it here. Count to 5 for me.
Okay, Mary had a little lamb. There's no echo now. Thank you, my brother.
Okay, go ahead.
Whatever you.
Yep.
You worked your magic. Sorry about that, folks. Sometimes things come up. But I am just so grateful. I've been so excited about the protest, and I'm so happy. I wish I could have twitched my nose and been at that protest. But I'm so proud of everyone that realizes that we need to keep standing up. Some people aren't really into protesting, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. I would love for everyone to share their comments and opinions about the protest. But then again, of course, Rick said he's going to talk about it later on. So I don't want to steal any of his thunder. who could do that anyway. And I also am looking for comments. Anyone who would like to contribute their opinion on why they feel it is important to speak up about the Watchtower. Some people say, why don't you just move on and forget about it? Why do you always have to, pick on those poor Jehovah's Witnesses? And it's like, you know what? We can't. Nothing has ever really changed in our society, but for the people who were willing to stand up, whatever might come upon them, they stood up and they publicly marched and spoke out against tyranny and ugliness and unfairness and segregation and abuse, everything. You have to stand up and say the truth to anyone and everyone, even if it costs you a beating or your life. So anyway, I wanted to welcome everyone in. And also, before I forget, tonight, please remember to turn your clock, not your back, turn your clock backward 1 hour. And it's fun to watch your clock on your phone because it goes 2 o'clock all the way to 3 o'clock. When it's supposed to go to 3 o'clock, it'll say 2 o'clock again. So we get an extra hour. It is going to be another daylight saving time, or maybe it's undoing. Anybody out there want to share their thoughts and feelings, knowing that the protest was going on? I call it the Free to Be Me, regardless of Watchtower protest. I forgot the actual name. Anybody like to share their thoughts, opinions?
Yeah, hello, Ann.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Not bad. How you doing? It's Be Free in 2023, and I think I really am happy for those people that could make it out. I want to wish them congratulations. I wish I could have been there, but I'm up in age right now, walking around in a cane, and so it's not that easy for me. I can't try. It's hard for me. I can't travel like I used to. So
yeah,
and yeah, I think that by the looks of it, I caught some of it on my Wi-Fi there, and by the looks of it, I think it went over well for the first time. I think we did all right. And I'm hoping right now that we can have more of these protests, maybe even down in my area. I don't know, and everything like that, and just expose the Watchtower and kind of put them in their place once and for all, because this has just gotten too far. I mean, in the name of religion. We got freedom of religion in America here and everything like that, a First Amendment. But then who goes and violates it? Organized religion and the kingdom of the cults want to violate our freedom of religion and enthrall us and everything like that, putting themselves above the laws of the land, putting themselves above the laws of God, violating people's civil rights and human rights and committing felonies upon innocent people. Yeah, it's gone far enough and everything like that. And we need more people to get out and say, enough is enough, and we're not going to put up with it anymore. So.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. I really appreciate your bringing up the Watchtower and the freedom of religion. I don't know if you remember, but a lot of people might remember that back in July of 2009, Watchtower made a big deal of promoting how, they're all about freedom of religion. I think they had on the cover of the Awake of July 2009, maybe like an Indian lady or somebody from another country breaking free from the religion she was raised in. And inside was a great article all about, a person shouldn't be punished or lose their family because their conscience moved them to leave the religion that they were raised in, if they follow their heart before God to do what they felt was right. And I'm like, yeah, that only counts if you're leaving another religion to join Watchtower. But if you leave Watchtower to become a Christian, or just to, live your life honestly before God according to your heart and conscience, you're going to be punished to no end, to the full extent that they can punish you. They're such arrogant hypocrites, tyrannical all the way.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. That's interesting that they would say something like that, because they're one of the biggest violators of freedom of religion right now. There's some other ones that are just as bad too, that look down on you if you leave their church or they don't believe like they do. But I mean, they are the number one in the book right now. And they've been for several years and all that. So yeah, like I'm of course I'm a constitutionalist and I represent the Constitution. And there is no right or wrong answers regarding religious beliefs, but we do have freedom of religion and freedom of speech and all that. And whatever it is, they got a right to say it. Even recently over here, they got on top of the congressman down below, Tim Walberg. He's a good congressman and all that, but because of the fact that he upheld freedom of speech and all that and says, I'm not going to do anything to violate anybody's freedom of speech and everything like that, they got all over his case. But he got on the news and everything like that, and he responded. So, I mean, that's freedom of religion, freedom of speech, period. No exceptions.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's real basic to me, nuts and bolts. I mean, Jesus said,
yeah,
treat others the way you want to be treated and love one another as I love you. I think that's very, very clear. You can preach freedom of speech all you want, but if your freedom of speech infringes on somebody else's freedom of speech, I mean, why can't we all just freely and honestly express the way we feel, what we believe, what we think, our opinions, without trashing somebody else or making somebody else feel stupid or guilty or evil just because they don't agree with our frame of mind, especially if that frame of mind isn't even your own mind. It's an indoctrinated mind running on cult programming. And it's unfortunate that the dedicated, ever obedient and loyal, non-thinking Jehovah's Witnesses don't get it. And it's just heartbreaking to me, just heartbreaking. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it's heartbreaking to all of us here because they just tear everybody apart, period. And remember how the Watchtower, when you studied with you and all that, they says, you know what? These churches are teaching you if you don't go by their doctrine, you're going to hell. Hey, I'm going to look at let's look at the book right here. It says the gates of hell will not prevail against you. Next thing they tell you when you don't agree with them, well, you're going to get killed in Armageddon. Oh, give me a break, huh? You know. So
yes, no, it's just the same bowl of soup from a different kitchen. It's ridiculous. Yeah. They are so good at pointing fingers. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ed.
Oh yeah, we can take another caller in there if we can. Star 6 if anybody wants to call in.
Hey, I have a question.
Hey, go ahead.
Hello. Hi, Anna Marie. And hi,
hello.
Everybody. I had a question. Hello. Yeah, it was exciting. Definitely. I was just so proud of all of the speeches, so clear, and everybody expressed themselves so well. But I had a question for Rick. Are you there, Rick?
I'm here, yep.
What crossed my mind was I wanted to ask you, when they do protests at the convention, are they restricted from giving speeches the way that you did there at the recent protest, like at the White House? Do they allow that type of event to have a speech, like with a microphone at the convention?
See, they don't, many times though, you can't use PA system or megaphones at a convention. So, you can speak.
So they restrict?
No, they're not restricted.
Okay.
They're not restricted from speaking, but they're not going to listen. They're in the convention, so they'll just kind of deafen their ears as they would walk by. But down there was a different venue. Now, all of the protests I've done have been at Watchtower events, conventions, Kingdom Halls, Assembly Halls, even up in Warwick in front of the World Headquarters. But, this was the first time really that I was in a protest that wasn't, in front of a Watchtower event or building. So it was kind of unique. And I'll talk all about it later on. And we got some people coming on that were there at the protest, and they'll give their feelings on it too. But it was amazing, Christine. I have to tell you,
my thoughts were along that line, wouldn't it be great if you could have that kind of venue right there on a convention grounds, or maybe even right next door? I wonder if there would be a way to say, well, we're not on the convention grounds, but we're here. We're set up next to. I don't know how that would
well,
work.
the
logistics. I was
logistics.
just
It's a good question. I'll tell you, but the
logistics.
logistics, I give those guys credit to put that together. It's a very difficult thing to do. You have to, get permits. You got to kind of map everything out. I was up at 4:00 in the morning and had to be down there at 9:30 and go over stuff and set up all my equipment and lug that all there. I had the cameras and what have you.
Rick, did you walk 2 miles to get to the?
I'd say about a mile and a half at least. Yeah.
That's a lot for you. That's really great.
Well, I'm in pretty good shape. I do exercises every day, so it wasn't bothersome. I mean, I could do it. Yeah. But I had a carriage that I got from Amazon, like a shopping carriage, and I was able to put all of the equipment in there and let it all up. So that is what saved the day. If I didn't have that, there was no way I could have lugged that stuff all over there. Yeah.
Did you have somebody to help you lug all that stuff down?
No. I did it myself. I brought it down from Massachusetts. I made up a lot of signs. In fact, there was more signs. They couldn't even show them all there. But I was very pleased with the turnout. I was very pleased with the people I met. And geez, they would treat me like I was some type of a rock star down there. It was unbelievable.
Well, you are.
I was
our rock star.
I was really flattered. I mean, I couldn't believe it. People wanted to come up and have selfies and all of that. It was wonderful to meet all the people.
Hey, well, you're almost for a governing body, so you're in that bracket.
Yeah, well, I got to tell a little bit of that story. They only wanted me to speak for 5 minutes, so I tried to keep it to 5 minutes. But the others went on a little bit. But it was good. I got to meet Serena Bertolomo. She was down there. I met her afterwards. All these people we get to meet. It was really, really good. So it worked out good. Yep.
Well, I think you did a great job and appreciate all your hard work doing that. Could I ask one more question?
Sure.
Okay. Were there any news people that were down there, or were there any lawmakers or anybody involved in the legal side of
Well,
was there anybody
I have to say I did not see any news people. And when Justin comes on tonight, he more or less, he was like in charge. The woman who ran it, she keeps her name very confidential. I got to meet her. She just goes by Freebie, be free. So she runs it, but she had a mask on, so no one would recognize her. She still doesn't want to be seen, but she did a really good job. But she's not gonna be on tonight, but she might be though. But we're gonna have Justin, at least he's the second guy in charge, and I'm gonna ask him if they contacted the media. I think they did, but we'll see what he says. Yep.
Oh, one more. I know I said one question, but I have one more.
All right.
Is there any plan to do this on a regular basis in different cities or different places? Like, is the group they're just started doing these type of protests? Are they planning on doing more like it in the future?
Well, I'll tell you what I noticed after the protest. It was so enlightening to see all of the protesters hugging one another and chatting, just like after a convention with the Jehovah's Witnesses. You know how you all get together and hugged and shook hands and all of that. They all did that. So what I got thinking, there's still a lot of people that wouldn't come because it was a protest. A lot of people, they're still kind of standoffish, a little. They feel kind of funny about a protest. So what I'm trying to put together, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is have a first ex-Jehovah's Witness convention where we can have some of the speakers come in.
Oh, that would be
so
awesome.
I'm gonna try to plan on that. We're gonna talk about it here in the 6 Screens and pick a city and try to get like a regular ex-witness convention. We can all meet and there'll be speakers and get a bunch of the people from YouTube and what have you. So that'd be good.
Well, you used to go to, I remember when I was waking up, they had the, what was it, Witnesses for G, or, JWs for G.
Yeah,
they had that convention. That's a religious.
Yeah, it had a religious,
theme.
a religious flavor. But I know one thing when I
but
first.
If you did.
When I first went there in 2004, there was 250 people there. It was really good, but it has a religious overtone, and not all the people getting out, as we know.
It'd be nice to have. Yeah. I like the idea of it being secular rather than religious.
Right.
I like that idea. I think that gives more people opportunity. It spreads it out, and also to invite other cult ex-members to be involved too, because they need help too.
Oh yeah, well we could. I think the timing is ripe. It hasn't been up till now. We were going to have a big protest back in 2020, and we did have 100 people that said they were going to come. It was going to be in front of the Warwick World Headquarters, but then COVID came. I had the hotel all booked. I had the convention center all booked, and then COVID came and put the kibosh to it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and maybe even, like you said, try different states, and more people will be able to go if they live closer to wherever it's going to be set up. But a lot of us with health issues want to be there, but I definitely would have, if my health wasn't such an issue.
Well, it is hard, Christine, and even in fact, it's about 500 miles from where I live to Washington, D.C. But I stayed in Pennsylvania. I stayed in PA with my father. He's 100 years old, so I spent a day and a half with him. And then I went down from Reading, Pennsylvania. It was only a couple of 100 miles from there, not even quite that. So it worked out good. So I'm glad to be home.
Wow, Rick. Yeah. That's awesome. And how was your dad? Dad?
My dad was fantastic. You would never know. So while I was there, I took him out to lunch, and he wanted to get a haircut. So I took him to the barber, and he, I pulled up to the curb. I said, Dad, I'll come open the door for you and walk you in. No, you don't have to do that. He walked right in there by himself. I mean...
Rick, that is so awesome. Well, I'm close to that. I mean, my mom's 85, so I mean, that's not 100, but
it's old enough.
I'm blessed with having my mother. Yeah, I'm blessed.
Well, I thank God. I thank God every day.
As she is.
Well, I thank God every day my father still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing, and I really want to thank you for doing such a good job on your.
Thank you. You'll hear a lot more. You'll hear a lot more tonight. We'll go into some more detail tonight. You'll hear a lot more.
Yeah. Thank you. I was just curious. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Talk to you there.
So thank you, Christine. Thank you, Rick. I'm sure everybody is really looking forward to a more full and complete discussion of the protest. But and thank you again, Christine. That was really insightful. And you asked really good questions. Does anybody have any comment? Great. Anybody have any thought, comments?
I would like to say, I think that there was probably people from the government there. I had a couple approach me and asked me, what's this all about? And I gave them the whole wagon load. I said, you see that banner with pictures of pedophiles? That one is one I know personally from Oklahoma. That's a serial pedophile. And we're wanting to be mandatory reporting in all 50 states. And she said, well, it should be. I said, no, and it's not. I told her about the 2-witness rule. Told her about the shining, the suicide from the shining, the blood issues. Anyway, she was, her and the lady was with her. They were just going through getting food to carry back, and they were dressed like professionals. I don't know what they are, but they let me know they were from Arkansas, but they moved up there to work. So I thought, hey, that sounds like a politician, probably. I don't know, but there were several others that had that happen to them too. And you said the name was Be Free in 2023. Let's say we want more in 2024.
Well, good for you. I'm really glad that you shared that. You know, you never know who you're talking to or who they know or who they're going to tell and who they're going to tell. So I just believe that, you know, there's no real, well, I do believe in coincidence because the root word of a coincidence is to coincide. And I do believe that everything happens and needs to be said and we meet who we need to meet. And it all seems to work out when you look back, you know, like Rick, he's so faithful. Go ahead.
Yeah, guess what the security guard told me? He said,
What's that?
a lot of people that come here and protest, large groups, you know, like y'all, and he said, but they do it on the weekend, thinking they're getting the attention of the president, and he's not even here. All they're preaching to or screaming at is the cleaning crew. He said, you know, he's got, actually, here's something a lot of people may not know, but he's there on Halloween night to hand out candy. On, you know, they have select few that kids they let come up there and he hands candy out to them. So you know he had to know, you know, they had to report to him who's out there in his backyard standing and screaming at him. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm just, you know, I think it's wonderful that everybody was there and did what they did, and that's amazing what Rick does. He blows me away every day. I don't know. I think the Lord just keeps him going because he's got a cape on his back. Anybody else like to comment? *6. I'm interested in everyone's thoughts, opinions, suggestions. Comments? I was wondering if maybe sometime maybe we could have a protest in different areas at the same time, because it seems like no matter what area it is, there are so many people who wish they could be there but can't make it. And
yeah.
Go ahead, dear.
So what I want to say is that there's a lot of people that have seen the success from the latest protest, and now they're willing to come in person and support, which is going to bring more numbers and going to bring more attention to it. That's good, but to be honest, I think that we need a lot of bodies to start legally being a part of the process of putting pressure on the local senators, because the protest is only going to do but so much. You know, like the protest is going to be good. It's going to be good for awareness, but honestly, it's going to be way better to put the pressure on the local senators. We need to, the protester honestly is most important for the local natives to go to their local meetings, the neighborhood meetings, the town meetings, because these senators that are trying to get higher and higher, those are the people that are depending on the local people. And if we get to them, that'll be the most crucial thing that'll make the domino effect. Because without that, we're just kind of like showing face, and it's encouraging and it's beautiful, and it is very therapeutic. I was there myself. It's very therapeutic and euphoric for that moment. But as far as legal action, we need to have these amount of people showing up to these town meetings, because as little people that show up to these meetings, they make those choices and those pressures on the vote, getting the votes to the senators. The senators, all they care about is votes. All they care about is popularity and votes and power and all that other stuff. They're just like the governing body. They're just like them. So if we have those amount of people to put the pressure on them to put the incentive to make the changes for these religious organizations, then we can make a change. Other than that, the protest is beautiful. I get it, but it's only going to be so much. It's going to be a ceiling and a cap for it. So what I want to do is I want to encourage the people to organize together. We need to go to a meeting together, and that coincides with our next protest, that puts the pressure on the local senator so he could actually make some changes based on the threat of him not being voted into office. That's just how it works, unfortunately.
Well, you sure do make a lot of sense. And just like I believe, this is just my personal belief, just like I believe the Lord has been guiding Rick to do what he's been called to do, and he's been so faithful at it. Maybe, you know, you're called to do that because you sound like you have a different focus, but for the same end game. You sound very articulate and intelligent and educated, and perhaps maybe this is a sign that maybe you could kind of spearhead this type of thing. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have the slightest idea what to do. I'm more of a protest kind of person, but it takes all kinds, you know. There are different parts to the same engine that get the job going.
Yeah, there's different parts. No, you're absolutely right. That's why I don't want to undermine the attention that the protest grabs. What I'm gonna do is, I know personally Mike Washington. He was I want to say a contributor to the protest. He actually held a he actually held an after event for the protest. I'm going to contact him as far as the next protest that's also in DC, and I'm gonna coordinate with him as far as the location to actually meet where we meet for the senator's reelection. Because, man, like, I think you got to understand that it's the senators that really will make the choices to change things in order for them to stay in office. We can't affect the presidential stuff. We can't really, like, I know people vote and everything like that. A lot of that stuff is just like facade, in my opinion. Like, but what we can affect is the groundwork before we get all the way to the higher things. And that's what's going to be, you know, the most important thing. So anyway, I'm going to make it my point to contact Mike about we need to show up to the next protest, and we need to make it coincide with the next local town meeting or a city meeting. I forgot the name for that specific area. And so that we could put the pressure on the senator to evaluate this. But with that being said, Rick Farron has said a lot of great things as far as like the numbers that were out there. I was out there, I thought it was 80 people, but when he told me it was like 150 and then like 200 came, I was happy to find out. So that's a great sign of progress, and I do still support all of those SJWs. I do want to say this, another thing, I hope it's not too insensitive, but PMOs, I understand your position. And I have friends I love dearly like PMOs, but I'm not going to lie. If all the PMOs were to stand up at the same time and leave, it would cripple the organization to the point where there's no coming back. So I want to let the PMOs know that we all had something to lose and we all gave up something, and we understand that it's not easy, but guys, we need y'all. We need y'all more than what y'all might have to be doing, in my opinion, in the current state. We need y'all to step up, man. I'm not gonna lie. You cannot always ride the coattail of the people that are openly against the organization. We need you all. You are the tipping point for the downfall of this organization. Now, I don't want to be insensitive. I understand where you all are. I try to get this out so I don't take up much time. But anyway, my last thought is I'm going to talk to Mike Washington, who's a big proponent for the protest, and I'm going to think about the political, legal avenue of getting ways to implement statutes that'll, you know, coincide with what we want to go into. And thank you for letting me talk. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Well, sir, I didn't let you talk. I'm hanging on every single word you said. And you're not being insensitive. You're being real. That's straight up real. And I, as a nuts and bolts person, I appreciate somebody who is real. That is an incredible thought, my brother, that all the PIMQs, you know, those who are questioning, but especially the PMOs, they are mentally out. They know that this Watchtower cult is not in any way, shape, or form God's anything, much less the truth. And you're right. If they all stood up together as a, you know, an entire body, I think you're absolutely right. And I really appreciate you're just speaking out and saying the truth, because a lot of people are so worried about hurting somebody's feelings or being called insensitive or mean or whatever. And I just say it. You know, you're not putting anybody down. You're not picking anybody. You're not guilting anybody. You're not trying to be manipulative, and you're not standing up as better than. You're just saying the truth, my brother. You go. And I really applaud you. You know, I hope you do whatever you can in the venue that you said, as far as, you know, on a political stage, you know, talking to so-and-so, Mike, you know, talking about something with the Senate or whatever. You're way over my head, but what you say makes absolute sense to me. You got Rick over here doing the protest, working as hard as he does, running the 6 screens, doing all this. and you doing yours. Shoot, I wish I could help you do it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. May I know your name, my brother?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And thank you for your assistance. My name is Tyrone Dantley. I came from the Glass Center congregation out of DC. But I want to say that, like, for PMOs, I'm not going to just talk a game, but I'm going to walk a game. For PMOs, I will have a space for you in January. If there is a PMO that wants to make that jump, I can't hold everybody, but I will have a space for you in January. If you all are interested, you will find me at Tied Up Now. Do TYEDNOW. I'm sorry, TYEDUPNOW. Tied Up Now. Please remind us if you need to. tiedupnow@gmail.com. Email me if you would need a space to say, but I would say that it will start January of next year. But I think that is a big caveat for females leaving too, is the threat of being kicked out of their home. But anyway, I thank you for your sensitivity, and look, we all want the same goal. You know, I have good intentions, and
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I understand my words might not translate as loving as most people, but anyway, I appreciate the time, and I want to let you know, you PMOs, I love you, man. I love you guys, and I wish the best for you. And we're going to get this done together as a whole, and we will see Watchtower fall together, guys. Okay? All right. Thank you so much.
Tyrone, thank you. And your love for our lost brothers and sisters and your character really does come through very strongly, and I want to thank you. So that's Tyrone, tiedupnow@gmail.com. Was that correct?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Wow. You go, my brother. You go.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. I'll listen there from now on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother Tyrone. Anybody like to comment on what Tyrone so eloquently stated? Any thoughts on what he said? His angle of trying to get this done, the light shone on the real evil of the Watchtower. You know, whitewashed graves full of dead man's bones and every kind of evil and disgusting thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hi. Go ahead, my dear.
Hello, Miss. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? I'm sorry, Miss. What was your name again?
Me?
Yeah, what was your name again? I forgot.
No worries. Anne Marie, and yours?
Oh, okay.
Or what
I remember you. Yeah, Anne Marie. I remember you. I remember you well. Anne Marie, you've been on the show many, many, many times in the past. You always gave a really totally awesome show in every way, 100%. This is Mark Taft. In
Thank
Chicago,
you,
Illinois.
Mark. I know you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to show you're doing a great job tonight, and I give you 2 thumbs up and 500 stars for doing such a totally awesome job. And you know, you've been talking about the protest that Rick did this past week recently in Washington D.C., which was really totally awesome, and I'm glad it was very successful for him. And he had a pretty good turnout of, I think, over 200 people, and he did the live coverage, and I watched some of it on YouTube, and Rick did one hell of a great job. And that protest, in my opinion, was very, very important. I mean, and it should have been done many, many, many years ago. But I'm glad he did it, and I'm glad he did it right in front of the White House, and I support him 100%, and all the ex-witnesses that were involved with that protest, because something like that should have been done back in 1975, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm still glad Rick accomplished it, and God bless him. God bless him in every way, and everyone else who was involved in that protest, to let people know who the Jehovah's Witnesses really are, what the Watchtower is really all about, who they are, and the governing body and who they are and what they're really all about. Because we need to expose the truth about them. They've done way, way too much damage to people in this world. They've destroyed people completely. And so that's what I wanted to say. I hope you're okay with that.
Are you kidding, Mark? That was very well said. You know, a lot of people, when they acknowledge Watchtower's pedophilia and how they have the 2-witness rule and how they threaten and punish the victims.
It's horrible. It's
horrible. It is very horrible.
I've been very angry with them for many, many years. And I know many ex-witnesses are, and maybe you were too, or maybe still are, and I don't blame you. And I truthfully have nothing good at all to say about the Watchtower Society, the governing body, the Jehovah's Witnesses, nobody. I mean, they're just they're evil, and if I have anything to say about them, it's going to be negative because I have nothing good or positive to say about them, and I wouldn't imagine you do either.
No. But what I was, and thank you for that, Mark, very much. But what bothers me, like I said, is when someone will acknowledge, the hypocrisy, the lies, the damage, the whole thing, and then they'll say, "Yeah, there's a lot of other religions that do that too." No, no, no. I always just bristle with annoyance because Watchtower to me is the absolute worst of the worst of the evil.
They are. Yes, they are.
They remind me of the snake in the Garden of Eden. They're so smooth and reasonable, and they present themselves like they're just so good and so.
Right.
They take down the yellow brick road of, oh, let me take you to Oz, to the great and powerful Wizard of Oz, and all your problems will be solved. It's that in the name of truth and true Christian and true religion and God's organization, and we represent God, in the name of all of this that is lies, lies, and more lies. They do it in the name of God, the creator of all things. Can you imagine somebody using your name, saying that they represent you and that they are saying your commands and your rules, doing all kinds of evil in your name?
That would not make any sense. In fact, that makes no sense at all. I mean, that's nonsense. And the bottom line is, like I've heard from Rick before, you can't make sense out of nonsense.
I know, we've been trying a while, haven't we, Mark?
Yes. It's total nonsense. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's a joke. It's 100% total joke. Always has been. I caught on to it, completely how screwed up that organization was, and there was something about it that wasn't right. This religion's not right. There's a lot of things wrong with it when I was a kid, ever since probably like around third, fourth grade, and I realized something's just not right here. But then again, I'm in a family that's Jehovah's Witnesses. I have no choice. I can't just leave, and even though I really want to, I can't just leave because they won't allow it, right? Until you're an adult, you can't leave. You got to stay no matter what. And another problem is what a lot of young people and teenagers, kids run into it when they become an adult. If they're still living with their family at home, their parents at home, and they want to leave, well, guess what? They really can't if they still live in their house and they still have to go to their stupid meetings and stupid assembly conventions and all that crap and just waste their life and waste their time. And all of that was the biggest waste of time of my whole entire life. And I'm sure it was for many other, former ex-witnesses too. Just the biggest waste of time. I saw no value in any of their meetings, their memorial, their assembly conventions, going out in service, door to work, none of it. Zero. And I hope you feel the same way.
Well, you're a lot smarter than I ever was in the cult, because even as a kid, even out of the cult, when I left when I was 15, and then got sucked back in when I wasn't quite 20. But you know what?
Oh, wow.
I never doubted the Watchtower. I never thought anything was wrong with them. I just thought if I saw something wrong, well, no, I always thought it was me and Satan using the brothers and sisters' imperfections to try to get me to leave Jehovah. I swear to God, I was an idiot of the first order. And
not your fault.
It took me for almost 14 years after I left for good. Do you know that I was such an indoctrinated fool that I would do incidental witnessing and place literature even after almost 14 years of being out of that organization? My body was out, but my brain was still under that programming. Now, I don't know how dumb a dumb person can be, but I was incredibly far gone. I'm shocked that I finally woke up.
No, I agree with you, but it's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. You got those people. They're very, very manipulative. They manipulate people. They badly influence people. They're very, very controlling, as you know. They love to play mind games. Mind games with them is very, very common. They love to play with people's minds way, way too much, and that's exactly what they do. It's their game. They brainwash people. They poison people's minds. They pollute people's minds. They're just overall, like I said, very controlling, and that's how they do it. And that's what, unfortunately, they did you, but it's not your fault. Now, I mean, but they do all that. Does that make sense to you?
It makes total sense. And I think that because so many truly loving, decent, sincere people who truly wanted to serve God in the quote unquote right way, getting them fooled and fooling their trusting, gullible brains is what did it. Because my mother is a very loving, kind, sincere person, and the congregation that I was raised in, they were all very loving and kind and sincere. And I'm thinking, just listening to you, that if they had been a bunch of jerks like the ones I met later, I don't think I would have woke up, because it's the mean, arrogant ones that think, I think help wake up. But the bottom line, this cult is the worst, because like I said, they act like, and they're so good at fooling people, using God's word, twisting it, manipulating it. I mean, how to represent God and twist his words and in his name do the evil that they do, and then take God's word, whether you believe it's God's words or not, anybody. How can you claim to represent God and then take his words and just keep messing with it, changing it, adding to, taking away from it? Oh, here's the new and improved Bible. How many times have they changed just God's words? After the first more than 50 years of the organization, they used the King James. Then they changed to the American Standard Version because they had Jehovah in it. Then they decided in the 50s, we're going to make our own translation, to where the Catholic Church, no kidding. So when the Catholic Church, remember it was the Catholic monk of the Dominican order in, 1269 or 12 something. He's the one that took the vowel from Adonai and Elohim and put it in the Tetragrammaton to make Yehovah. And they know that Jehovah is not God's name, but they had adopted it. They had put it in their Catholic Douay version. In fact, using my mother's Catholic Douay version to show the name Jehovah is what started my mom down the road of believing everything that came out of the witness's mouth. But the Catholic Church wrote Watchtower and told them, we know that you're making your own translation, but Jehovah is not God's name. And they told them the story like the witnesses didn't know. But that they not only basically said, too bad, we're going to do what we want to do. They even made an entire Watchtower study talking about this whole, they wrote us and this is our argument and we're going to keep using this name because it's the most accepted. They made it in a Watchtower study, February 1st, 1980. If anybody has a bound volume, look it up. February 1st.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, it was a joke.
It was a joke. You're right, Mark. The name of the article is The Divine Name in Latter Times. Watchtower lies and lies, and no matter, I don't get it, no matter what lie or twisting or rearranging or bringing back recycled old truth into something else, calling it new light, no matter what, they just sit there and go, oh, how exciting.
Yeah, it's just you got to laugh at it. It's a total complete joke, and I was very just totally put out with all their crap teachings, and that they're constantly changing their teachings and changing their everything, just everything about their organizations, and their doctrine. They're changing and changing, and it doesn't make any sense. Like they're just stumbling around in darkness, which no doubt they were. And it was just the biggest joke in the world I ever saw. And I'm wondering, where in the hell are they getting all this information from? From who? I'm thinking, well, it could be the governing body in Bethel. Then they're getting all this information from them, and they obviously don't know what they're doing. They have no clue of what they're doing. They just think they do, And it's just, they just dish out just more and more crap that makes no sense whatsoever. It's all falsified teachings, right? And they're just, as I said, they continue to poison people's minds, just constantly. They're so very good at that. That governing body, those guys are experts. They're experts at poisoning people's minds. Does that make sense to you?
Absolute sense. I keep waiting for the newer version that's going to come out. I'm being facetious. the newer version of the New World Translation that's going to come out, and you look back in the 10 Commandments, and the first commandment is, I am your God. I am the Watchtower, your God. Thou shalt have no other God before my face. That includes Jesus, the Bible, and your own conscience and your own brain. Better not think you're going to die.
Right. That makes no sense whatsoever.
First,
no sense whatsoever.
Is it 2 Thessalonians 5:21 or 1 Thessalonians 5:21, where the New World Translation even says, make sure of all things. Make sure of all things. Can you imagine any Watchtowerite actually checking out what they're being taught to see if it is really true?
I couldn't imagine them even. They wouldn't even give it a thought. They wouldn't even bother. They would never even give it a second thought to do that, because they're too brainwashed, and what the Watchtower is teaching them, and just feeding their mind, and literally just like I said, poisoning their minds. They're just going to stick with what they're being taught, because that governing body has total complete control over them, and they rule them with an iron fist. And that governing body is like, you people do not think for yourselves. You think only to us and us only, but not to yourself. It's our way. So as long as you think only to us and what we tell you, you're good to go. If not, then you're going to have Jehovah very angry at you, and your chances of being destroyed at Armageddon are going to be very good. They really love to intimidate people. They love intimidating, scaring people, making people very angry. They love that. They get off on that. Does that sound right to you?
Oh, yeah, it sure does, Mark. It sure does.
It's bad. I have no respect at all for the governing body. I really don't. I hope you don't either. I have no respect at all for any of them, and the Watchtower Society, Bethel, none of them, zero. And please don't take me wrong, but I just have no respect at all for any of them.
No, and I really hope. I think the only ones that don't wake up are those that don't want to wake up.
Exactly.
Even my own diehard Jehovah's Witness mom told me 22 years ago, when she was actually listening to me when I was first starting to investigate the Watchtower Society, and I started like, oh my God, Mom, I found out this. Mom, I found out that. And she listened to me for a little bit. And then I said, Mom, I can't believe you're actually letting me tell you this. And she said, well, I'm a lover of truth. And if anything you say bothers my conscience, I'll let you know. Finally, she tells me one day in the middle of me telling her something, she says, Anne-Marie, I know there are things wrong with the Watchtower. I know that there are things that bother my conscience or that I don't agree with.
Really?
But I just tell myself that Jehovah will take care of it in time. I love my brothers and sisters, and I'm too old to change. So if I'm like an innocent child in the sandbox, just let me stay in the sandbox. And basically, I call it the Watchtower fantasy bubble. Basically, just let me stay innocent. Her last words were, I don't want to know. And I think that's how all Jehovah is at. They will stop you in your tracks, because the bottom line is, I don't want to know. You either listen to my programming coming out of my indoctrinated mouth, or walk away, because I don't want to, don't try to confuse my programming with the truth or the fact.
That is 100% correct. And that's how most of them really are. And there ain't no two ways about it. I've dealt with the same exact type of people, same attitude, same thinking, same behavior, all of that. They're just 100%. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to know. They don't care, because they don't want to disobey Jehovah. Because if they dare to disobey Jehovah, then they're going to be in trouble. Then they'd be risk being disfellowshipped. A lot of things. They're just downright so damn intimidated. It's very pitiful, as far as I'm concerned. It's downright pitiful.
Sounds like fear of men to me. They always say, oh, well, we have to obey God as ruler rather than men. Well, exactly what God is referring to, because it sure in the heck isn't the Almighty Creator. You think it's almost like they treat the Almighty Creator the way they are, like he bows to their whim.
Right. Exactly. That is very true. I must agree with you with that. But they're obviously serving a false god, and it's too bad they don't know it. But they're serving a false god, and you're right. God's real name is not Jehovah. The real name Jehovah actually originally, from what I learned, came from a Catholic monk to the Catholic Church, was one. That's right. And And then it was also, the name Jehovah came to a private sector of Jews known as the Karaites. So that's where the name Jehovah, came from. And so we know that obviously is not God's correct name. Would you, I mean, if you agree, I don't know, but that's the way I learned it.
Oh, however you learned it. I mean, that just reminds me of the scripture where Jesus said how they strain out the gnat and gulp down the camel. I'm not really too concerned about details, but I'm always the nuts and bolts, big picture kind of thing. If you do anything in anybody's name and then you tell them that they can't check it out to see if you're telling the truth, that should be a ding, 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 ding. I think something's wrong here.
Right. That is 100% correct. It's something's very wrong. And I remember as a teenager, questioning things about the Jehovah's Witnesses with some of my so-called, fake Jehovah's Witness friends. And that made them very angry. They didn't like me questioning things. And, I was questioning things. I wasn't agreeing with a lot of things with the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Watchtower. But when I'm doing that, I'm not agreeing and I'm questioning things. They got very, very angry about that. And they were telling me, you shouldn't be, doing this. And, your attitude is no good. And you're just risking, being destroyed at Armageddon. And at that point, they were just actually wishing that upon me. I hope you are destroyed at Armageddon. I don't care. That's going to be your fault. You get destroyed at Armageddon. But they were very much promising me if I keep going the route I'm going right now, that come Armageddon, I'm done. I'm going to be destroyed. I'll be gone forever. And it's too bad. They ain't going to care. They don't feel sorry for me because I didn't, obey and stay close to Jehovah. So I got what I deserved. And I'm gone for, I'm gone forever. I think they do that quite often with a lot of people. Does that sound right to you?
Yes, it certainly does. With every breath they take, they're pretty much holding that threat over everybody's head, and they keep reinforcing it. And then they talk about leave Jehovah, be faithful to Jehovah, serve Jehovah. And it's replace the word Jehovah with Watchtower, organization, God, because it's not God. They're just saying God so that you will always connect pleasing them, serving them, obeying them, stay loyal to them, as if you're doing that for God.
That is correct. That is 100%
it's
correct.
So crazy.
I agree with you. It's very crazy, and it makes no sense. It's like I said, it's complete nonsense, and I'll never agree with anything that they teach at all ever. And now, if you don't mind me asking, Anne-Marie, were you disfellowshipped, or did you just leave on your own?
No, I would not leave on my own. I had to be disfellowshipped, and it was silly because I was disfellowshipped over something completely unscriptural. In fact, the truth is, if you want to get down to it, the elders never told me why I was being disfellowshipped. They just told me
they never told you why?
No, they never told me why.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I think if they would specifically tell you why, then they never told you why. Nope. That's really weird.
Never. I don't remember any scriptures, but I do know, and I trust, and I absolutely believe, and I believed it then, because during that hell time for me, I was praying so hard because I believed in Jehovah, and I believed that what was most important in my heart was what was His will. If it was His will, I'd crawl on my knees on salt and lemon, which is the punishment from the South that they did to kids. Crawl on my knees on salt and lemon and beg and whatever. I would do it if that's what God wanted. So, I see it as men were being unfair to me. I just thought, well, they're doing what Jehovah wants them to do. But I do remember before all this stuff happened, being so depressed and so dead that I was sitting in the Kingdom Hall quietly praying to Jehovah, please let me not wake up tomorrow morning. I just didn't, it was suffocating, but I never would have left because every misery that I had was, I'm not going to let Satan try to make me leave Jehovah. I would have died in that Kingdom Hall. And I believe personally that God knew what He had to do, let me go through what I had, because I never would have left. I literally would have died before I would have left. So I'm grateful. And I do believe that, Randy Waters said it very well. He said, nobody knows their time. Nobody knows what it will take, but somebody else does. You know, an angel, spirit guide, universe. I'm not picky, but I do believe that it's a very personal thing, that when it's time for any one of us to have a seed planted, or the seed that was planted to sprout, everyone's different. And for me, I would laugh when I gave my testimony and say I never would have left. God ripped me out of that organization by my hair.
Okay, yeah, and that's, yeah, I hear you, and I understand you totally, 100%. I know what you mean, and I know that's pretty frustrating, and on top of that, very depressing. And so I hear you. You know, that's not how that organization works, and how they get their people. They actually think, you know, like that. You know, that they gotta, if they gotta die, they gotta die. So be it. You know, but they're doing it specifically for God, and God only, not for Satan, but for God. Obviously, that's very wrong, but they think they're doing it all for God. So if they got to die for God, so be it, you know, which is sad, but that's how the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Watchtower organization, you know, operate. They, you know, if they kill someone, they don't care. They could care less if they kill somebody, you know, they drive them to suicide. You know, they could care less, because it's happened way, 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 way too much. But what do they care, right? They don't. And that makes my blood boil. But now, since I've learned everything about them and who they really are and all about, you know, that I'm not scared about nothing that they say. I have no fear or intimidation or anything that's going to scare me about what they say. You know, they can tell me all that crap till the cows come home. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to fall into their trap, because they're not going to intimidate me like they did before. And I would say to anyone who's an XJW, don't allow them to intimidate you, because that is their big time game, if that makes sense to you.
No, it makes absolute perfect sense. In fact, I have seen more than one, and I was one of them, ones who have left the organization who went back, it was almost like, you know, the scripture in Peter, like a dog returning to its vomit. I finally got that scripture. Why did the dog return to its vomit? Well, he must have been pretty twisted and thought it was good for him, but why did he throw up in the first place? Because he got sick. Why did he get sick? Because he ate something that tasted good. I mean, that was bad for him. And why did he eat it? Because it tasted good at the time. That is how they snag us to think that the Watchtower is all hearts and flowers, Disneyland, and the whole thing.
Exactly.
And then it's so sick, we throw up, we walk away. If we go back to its vomit, to the dog, that is what an ex-member of Watchtower who goes back to Watchtower, they get twice as sick, because they're twice as screwed up. When you go back to an abuser, or somebody who beat you, or somebody who lied to you and tortured you and laughed at you, and you go back, that says something's pretty wrong with you.
Exactly, and that's a major, major mistake. You should never, ever in a million years do that. I would never encourage anyone to do that. I mean, once you walked away, stay away forever, for life, for an eternity. Don't ever, ever go back. You're just asking for trouble. A lot of people make that mistake, you know, with cults, including the Jehovah's Witnesses. You know, a lot of people make that stupid mistake, but not me. I'm not going to do that, and I would encourage anyone to, you know, do the same. And, you know, if they're overly concerned about, oh, no, I'm losing all my friends, you know, I'll have no friends, I'll be a loner. Well, okay, that's not a big deal, because you can always make new friends in the future. Make new friends, you'll have new friends, maybe even better ones. So what, you lose those friends? They weren't your friends really at all to begin with. They never were your friends. Truthfully, they never were. They were not your friends, like, ever. They never were. They never will be. You know. So what did you lose? You lost nothing. You lost people that were, you know, crap, garbage, useless, worthless.
Right.
They were not your friends at all. So people got to stop being so overly concerned about that. You know, I had to be a loner for a while. I had to be without friends and have zero friends, but and I was very uncomfortable with it. I didn't like it. I totally hated it. It kind of drove me, you know, totally nuts in some ways. But, you know, I finally got used to it and accepted it, and then eventually, you know, found some new friends, you know, and no big deal. The ones I lost, especially with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and so what? No big deal. They really weren't true friends. They weren't good friends. And the bottom line was, they weren't really your actual friends like you thought they were. So what did you lose? Not anything. Not a damn thing. And I hope you would feel that same way too, especially when you got out of the JW organization. yeah, you may have lost those friends, but did you come to the conclusion they really weren't your friends, correct?
Right. It took a lot of years though, but I think that it's so sad, like when Pimo's physically in, mentally out, you know, they know it's all a lie and they're living a lie and they're having to play the game and be fake because they don't want to lose their family and they can't think of paying that high price of losing their friends and family. And I'm thinking, but you're going to pay a price anyway, a high price. You don't think any of us, you know, Rick and Susan, the price that they're paying, the price that you're paying, the price that all of us are paying to be free, but at least we have our freedom. We can speak our truth freely. We are not going to roll over and die. If they put firing squad in front of us, we are not going to hang our head again to this kind of a cult. Never, ever.
Exactly.
Because what do you know what? Everything costs. Everything has a price. So what's most important to you? And then count the cost. If you don't want what you really want, well, then own it and pay the price of making a bad decision and being miserable. I'd rather pay a price to be free and live an honest, authentic life and have real friends who love me than to pay out another really high price for fake friends and my family who now shuns me, accepting me. If you don't,
exactly. I totally agree with you. I agree with you. I agree. I agree with you 100%. I totally agree. And I'm real sorry that your family shunned you, but that's the name of the game with cults and especially the JWs. They shun people. They don't care. They shun people that, you know, they think they have to obey the, you know, Jehovah. They're not going to disobey Jehovah. They got to obey the organization and the governing body. They have to do all that because if they don't, they're risking getting disfellowship. They don't want that. So therefore, you know, people get shunned, and that's the end of that. You know, and they're the only thing they'll let you know is, you know, come back to Jehovah and you'll be fine. If you don't, we have nothing to do with you, and too bad because you left Jehovah, and so therefore we have nothing to do with you because we're good, faithful Christians to Jehovah, and you're not. And you know, like they're making themselves out to be better, much better than us. Oh, they're far better than us, you know. You know, and that really, you know, also makes my blood boil. But you know, that's the name of the game with them. You know, that's how cults are. That's definitely for sure the way of the Jehovah's Witnesses, big time, and that's how they all operate. You know, they want to mess with you. They don't care. You know, they think you're going in the direction of Satan.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Thank you, Mark. Go ahead.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Did somebody want to comment? Well, Mark, thank you. And I just wanted to see if I could quickly untangle that little spiel that most Jehovah's Witnesses say, exactly how you said it. Well, you know, if you want me to love you again or associate with you, you have to come back to Jehovah, aka the organization. And you left Jehovah, aka the organization, and you're going to die at Armageddon unless you come back to Jehovah, aka the organization. Again, every time you hear Jehovah, put in Watchtower, governing body, organization, because it's all about obey us in the name of God. You know, they don't believe in John 14:6, where Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Did you ever hear any of the Watchtower governing body ever even have a study or a talk that said that Jesus was the way, the truth, and the life? No, they pointed themselves. We're the only way you can be right with God. We're the only way you can know God's truth. In fact, they even call their organization the truth. And we're the hope of life. So if you don't come to us and obey us and believe whatever we tell you to believe, and when that belief changes because we have new understanding, you better just be ready to accept it, swallow it, digest it, and adjusting your thinking and just go along with whatever we tell you. Or if you're not obedient and work for us for free and give us your money and be very respectful and loyal, you're going to die at Armageddon. How in the world is that what Jesus does give us? That is crazy. No. So I told myself when I was 16, you know what? If God's going to kill me, he's going to kill me. I am not going to live one more day in fear. Too bad my brilliant idea didn't carry over when I went back, because they convinced me if I didn't go back, they'd kill my children. My children would die. But I mean, you're right. They're twisted, lying, manipulative, and they don't care. They are unkind, cold, tyrannical, and mind controlling. And all they care about is what they can get out of you. And when they can't get anything else out of you, they just drop you like a bad habit.
Yep, that is 100% correct. You got that right, and that's very sad but very true. But yeah, you got to be free. You got to be free, and I encourage anyone else, just to be free and avoid cults, and avoid, especially the JWs, because you need to be free, and Jesus grants us that right. He gives us that actual right to be free. You don't have to be controlled by men and some organization run by men. Who are going to just dictate your whole life and control your whole entire life. And they're the big dictators, No,
right.
No way. No, and then Watchtower, they're very much like, they're governed by, they're like big time dictators, like Adolf Hitler, big time total dictators along the lines of like them, like a big Adolf Hitler or Putin or, that's just my opinion. They got the same exact type of actions and behavior and attitude for that. So, if that makes sense to you.
It makes perfect sense. They actually follow, in my opinion, Hitler's format. He had, I love Hitler's saying. Hitler's saying, he said, tell a lie often a lie. Doesn't matter. Tell a real big lie, but tell it often enough and people will believe it. Another quote I love of Hitler said, how fortunate for rulers that men do not think. What does Watchtower always tell us? What did they always drummed into our heads? No independent thinking. The first independent thinker was Satan. You don't want to be like Satan. Inculcating in your brain, if you think for yourself, like the Bible tells you to, make sure of all things and have your perceptive powers trained through use and be like the Bereans, check out everything to see if these things are so. Watchtowerites don't do that. And they don't understand. It's following that whole Hitler thing. In fact, I met an old woman. I met an old woman who was about 89, 90. 20-something years ago, I met her. And she had been raised in Germany and come as a teenager to the United States. And then her family joined the Watchtower under Russell. And she said that before the Hitler regime, before the Third Reich, she said in Germany, the way their culture is, they're very obliging, very well-mannered, very caring, they're obedient, and they're very good to their families. They're very respectful. They're good to their neighbors. Everybody gets along. Everybody helps each other. Everybody can count on each other. She said, but when the Hitler regime took over, little by little, they used the young ones to spy on their parents, to spy on their grandparents. She said it got to where people that you had known all your life, nobody trusted anybody, but everybody had that fake smile. Oh, how are you? Oh, so good to see you. Oh, this, oh, that. But everybody deep down didn't trust anybody because anybody could be reported at any time, and people would be turned in if they were deemed disloyal to the party. And she got really quiet. And she had tears in her eyes, and she said, that is what Watchtower became to me, because she could compare it to what she remembered before and during the Hitler regime. And she said, Watchtower is the same thing.
Yep, the exact same thing.
Mark, I need to check with Rick about our time because we have gone over. Rick, are you there, my brother?
Okay, that's fine. No problem. Thank you.
No worries. One moment. Rick, are you there, my brother? Are we okay on time?
Anne Marie, yeah, we got about, let's see, we've got, let's go 5 more minutes. In 5 more minutes, we have to cut to the news. A lot of stories tonight.
Thank you so much, my brother. Is there anyone that would like to comment on? Yes.
Anne Marie.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hey, Anne Marie.
Yeah, Hi.
Yeah, this is him. So sorry I missed you guys talking about the protest, but if I have to make it brief, all the ex-JWs who are at the protest should consider submitting it to the Nobel Peace Prize Committee in Norway. And that way you can show yourself to be activists for human rights, so to speak. But there are videos on how to qualify for that. And I encourage all ex-JWs to watch those videos on how to qualify for the Peace Prize.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Is there anybody that would like to share a thought or a comment? We have about 3 minutes.
Yeah, Anne Marie.
Yeah. Hi.
Anne Marie.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
can
ahead,
you hear
please.
me?
I can hear you, dear.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know I was getting in a dead area. My daughter's telling me. I just want to tell you what I really came away from that protest. The important thing was they were not there just bashing Jehovah's Witnesses. It was not an anti-Watchtower. It was pro.
Okay, you're in a bad area. We need to go to somebody that doesn't have a bad connection. Did anybody want to share anything? We have almost 3.5 minutes. Anybody want to share anything?
Anne Marie?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Stefan.
Hello, Stefan.
Hi, I just wanted to call and tell you that we missed you last week. That was it.
Oh my God, my heart was there. I was like, praise God, it's going to come out. The truth is coming out. And like, I just want to see him fall. Were you there, Stefan?
No, I'm talking program. I didn't hear from you last week. That's what I was talking about. No, I would love to have gone, and I made a vow to myself that the next time they have a program, I will definitely be there. But it was heartwarming to see it. I did watch it live. I was at work, but I did watch it live. I saw all the speakers. I was a little ticked off. There was some lady that kept walking through and loud and almost drowning Rick out. In fact, he offered to let her speak. Of course, she didn't want to do that. She just wanted to disrupt.
Yeah.
So if I had been there, I probably would have picked her up and whisked her away. So it's probably good I wasn't there. But in any event, just wanted to let you know that I missed you last week. But yeah, I will definitely try to be at the next protest.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Well, thank God.
No problem.
The Pasta Babe, because she's just right there, stepped up once again. She's done before, and I know she did a great job. She is just absolutely wonderful. So yeah, I have phone trouble, so I'm using my husband's phone. But I want to thank you. I really appreciate that. Would anybody else like to share a thought? Thank you, Stefan. Anybody start this?
Hey, Anne Marie, it's Mark again. Hey, Anne Marie, I want to thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And hey, you did a great show tonight. And hey, God bless you. God bless you in every way.
Well, God bless you as well, Mark. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing the thoughts that you shared, because you're not only helping people that listen right now, but who will listen later in the archives on YouTube, on Rick Barron's SoundCloud for this date, November 4th, 2023. Okay, anybody have a last word? We have about 25 seconds. You too. Anybody a last word? Have about 35 seconds.
Hello, Marie.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi, I'm a first-time caller to your program. I listen to it a lot, but I just want to say that, you do a really good job. And I want to comment, but I came on a little late, so hopefully you come on again. You share it, some things there, like the comment and give my thoughts on it too. So.
Well, I appreciate that you are coming on. Is there a name that we can refer to you as? John? Will it be, what's that?
Steven, that's my name.
Oh, Steven. Hi, Steven. Well, I want to thank you so much. And I hope that you call in, feel free to come in. We have 6 Screens Saturday, every Saturday. And for a spiritual side, we have 6 Screens Sunday, every other Sunday. Tomorrow we will have 6 Screens Sunday. Well, our time is up, everyone. I want to thank all of you for coming on the show today. We're going to go to Rick and JW World News, and have a good one. Hey, Rick.
Hello, Anne-Marie. My goodness, good show. And I really appreciated Mark, my good friend Mark, calling in. Always a good guy. Always good to hear from Mark. So anyways, we got a lot to talk about coming up next right here on the 6 Screens Tele-Network. We have got, we got a lot of good programming left tonight. We got JW World News. We're going to bring you right up to speed on what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. And then at 9 o'clock, we have Fritz Springmeier. He's the author of the book. He's a former Jehovah's Witness, but he's the author of the book, The Bloodlines of the Illuminati. He'll be coming on at 9 o'clock tonight. So by all means, stay with us. My goodness, I think you'll find it very fascinating, the programming we have. And we're so glad to see so many people coming into the Six Screens Tele-Network. Thank you very much. We're going to end this stream, and we're going to go to another stream. Going to go over to the other studio.